One of the best things about the first generation Lexus IS was the Swiss watch style gauge cluster. Unfortunately, one of the worst things about the first gen IS was the colour that they chose to illuminate this beautiful design. That's why today I'm going to guide you through how to change this orange colour to any other colour you want with an LED swap. It's pretty simple. If you follow this guide, you can't really go wrong. The link to the kit that I used is in the description below. Let's get on with it. Alright, looking head on at the speedo. There are 2 screws, you gotta take out one there and one there. And then there's another one down here, right underneath the ignition, right there. This is what the screws look like, they're just Phillips head. And you just pull from the top. And there's a dial here that you have to unplug at the back, right here. There's a screw there, screw there, screw there. And if you want to do the ignition, there's a screw here as well. Right, if you pull the gauge cluster forward, you can see in the back that you've got to unplug this one and this one. If you do want to change the ignition bulb, then it's right there. You see that orange thing? So you just unplug that. Alright, so the 5 bulbs that you want to replace here are these 3 black ones, they're the big ones, and then these 2 blue ones, which are the medium ones. The 3 black ones will be replaced by these big LEDs, and these 2 blue ones, you will use the medium sized LEDs. Alright, taking these out is really easy. You just get yourself a pair of long nose pliers and turn anti-clockwise. And there we go. So the orange part here, it's actually a cover for the bulb, which makes it seem like it's orange. So just pull that one out, get your new bulb and push it in. Slot it in there at 45-degree angle and twist clockwise. Alright, so don't forget, if you want to test the lights, you need to plug the dimmer switch in to test the lights before you put it all back together. So moving on to the center console, there is a little cover here that you need to take off. You can get a screwdriver in there and pry it open. So then it just pops out like that, and there's 2 screws that you have to take out. Alright, so once you've took those screws out, you can just pull this out. Right here, this bottom panel, you can just pull out by hand as well. I think you need 2 hands. Like that. And there's 3 connectors you need to take out here as well. White, blue, black. There's also 2 10mm bolts at the top you got to take out, one on the left, one on the right. Once you've removed that bottom panel, there's also 2 10mm bolts underneath. So once you've removed all the bolts, the middle section just pulls out, and there's 2 cables for the radio you need to unplug. Right, lower down, after you unplug these 2, there's also this one you have to unplug. That one's easy. Just pull it out. And there's one last connection here. Okay, and that's the entire center section removed. And you can move on to changing the LEDs. Right, so this center section has some brackets on the side that you want to take off. This top section is held in by these little plastic things that stick out of the holes, so you want to pull back the bracket so that you can pull it out, and then do the same on the other side. Right, so if you flip this upside down, you can see one screw there, and the same on the other side. So once the screws are out, there's 2 clips on this side and 2 clips on the other side. You just want to pull them open, and then there we go. I recommend opening it on the slope side because this ribbon is going to be yanked out otherwise. And you want to take this out carefully. So there's a tiny little notch there, and what you can do is slide a tiny screwdriver in there, flathead, and just unclip it carefully. And once you've unclipped it, you can carefully remove the ribbon. Alright, so it's the same idea as the gauge cluster, except you're going to replace this one and this one with the small single bulbs. I'm going to replace these 3 brown ones with the medium double bulbs. So same as last time, just grip with some pliers, twist anti-clockwise and pull them out. So now you could probably do this by hand, or you can place them in by hand. Right, so it's definitely best to have really small pliers for this because they are difficult to get in. Alright, so the easiest way to get these in is actually with tweezers. You just put it in those 2 holes there. Okay, so you want to push down and clockwise. I'll show you again on this one. So tweezers in there, push down and clockwise. So these ones are more difficult than the other ones to get in because they are smaller and a little bit tighter, it seems to me. Alright, so if you're really having trouble fitting it like I am, you can just make this gap a little bit smaller with a razor blade, but be careful, don't do it too much. Okay, so once they're securely in place, you can put the ribbon back in and snap it shut, and then you can clip it back together. So once you've clipped it back together, just put all your screws back in, and this section is done. So as you can see, the 2 top ones were for this clock, and then the 3 that was positioned around here was just for all of this. Obviously this won't change. Okay, so now you've got the bottom section, which is the seat warmer switches, traction control and snow. These just clip out. So you'll see 2 little clips at the back of each switch. Press them together and then push forward and they'll just come out. Okay, so looking at these, we change white, white and this little black one here. The brown ones are already white LEDs, so you don't need to worry about those. That's just for this little square, which I think is red. These ones just need a flathead screwdriver. Put it in there, twist. Okay, so using a sharp blade, you should be able to lift this part up like this. Then if you take that square section out, you'll see the orange in the back. You want to scratch that off, but be very careful because you don't want to scratch too much off. Alright, so as you can see, I've just scratched the middle part out. Basically this is all you need for this to become clear on the other side. So make sure you've scratched the part off at the back where the seat is on the other side. And if you want to check this. Okay, so orange side down, you want to put it over your phone. You can use any torch and see if it glows white, which it is. That means you've taken enough off the back. You can probably see it better there. There we go. So I've just took that middle section of orange off. So do that for all the switches. Just press it back into the slot once you've done, and that's it. You might need to glue it a little bit more with something else. Just depends how sticky it still is. I'm not actually sure if you had to change these bulbs or not. They don't have an orange cover on them, but I'm just going to change mine anyway because you know, this is a 16-year-old bulb. Once the switches are complete, just push them back in and you're ready to put everything back in the car. Straight off you can tell how much better this looks, so much brighter, and that's not even on the highest brightness. Right, now we turn the lights on and look at that. That is a world of difference. It honestly changes the whole car. The orange before kind of makes it kind of dull inside and sort of ruins it for me, and I guess for a lot of other people as well, because I see so many people changing these LEDs out. There's the climate controls. Radio is still orange because I'm going to replace the radio anyway. It'd be pointless changing LEDs in that. I did keep this cigarette lighter orange. I don't really see a point in changing that. These are also still orange, but they're kind of out the way so you don't notice anyway.